All right. Good morning. Good afternoon to some of you. Thank you so much for joining. We're just going to wait a couple more seconds before we get started on today's webinar, just to give everybody an opportunity to join. All right, let's dive in. So thank you again for joining. Today's webinar topic is See How Enkel is Transforming Financial Operations. I'm really excited to share with you about some of the work that we're doing with our clients and also help you understand why this new modern approach to finance is really changing the way that organizations think about finance. Let's dive in. In terms of agenda for today, we've got a fair bit to cover. I'm going to try to cover it in about 20 minutes, and that will leave us with an opportunity for Q&A. So please feel free to add your questions as we go through. Generally, what we will cover today is the financial challenges facing organizations. Um, a lot of this you will know already from your own experience, but understanding resource constraints, compliance pressures, and operational demands, how outsourced financial operations actually work. So, how is it different from how you're doing things today? Looking at our core services being bookkeeping, payroll, and accounts payable. We often refer to these as financial operations. And then also thinking about strategic financial management, which is the other side of our business where we offer controllership and CFO services. And then finally, real world impacts, some examples with some measurable outcomes that we can share from some clients that we've worked with, and some next steps that you might want to consider. All right, let's move forward. First, a little bit about Enkel. So I co-founded Enkel in 2016, almost 10 years ago, actually. And my co-founder and I really came together around this idea that you can't build a great organization without good books. To this day, that thesis hasn't changed. We do more than just bookkeeping. We've added other services, but we really believe that business owners and not-for-profit leaders need access to good quality, timely monthly financial statements. And that continues to guide us in sort of everything that we do. We've served over 1,000 clients since inception in 2016. As I mentioned, the core services being financial operations, which includes bookkeeping, payroll, and more. And then financial management support, which is CFO advisory and controllership services. I would like to acknowledge that our offices, where I'm located today in Vancouver, are situated on the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Also, before leaving the slide, I did also want to share with you that we are SOC 2 certified. This is an investment that we've made in having our systems tested, audited to demonstrate our commitment to holding your data to the highest standard from a privacy and compliance standpoint. A little bit about me. So prior to starting Enkel, as I mentioned, I spent most of my career working for a public accounting firm for KPMG. At KPMG, I worked with a lot of owner-managed businesses on both the tax and assurance side. Today, I have the good fortune of being able to work with a lot of incoming clients and a lot of our clients on an ongoing basis through our client success team. And it brings me a lot of joy to see organizations, transform their financial operations and be able to use data coming out of finance to make better decisions. So let's talk about the constraints. And again, as I said on the agenda slide, this is something that you might be able to relate to. But growing organizations do face complex financial operations challenges. Some of the key things that we hear are resource constraints. So having a limited budget for full-time financial staff, and also staff with specialized expertise in accounting, compliance, and strategic financial management. Compliance and audit pressure. So we are in an environment where there is greater demand from a regulatory standpoint. Audit standards do demand professional grade financial management and documentation. Leadership expectations. So boards and executives do require timely financial reports to make informed strategic governance decisions. And there is a strategic focus versus administration. So business leaders spend excessive time on financial tasks instead of focusing on growth. And we're hearing from clients more and more that they want to unburden themselves from these repetitive ongoing tasks so they can focus on the core business and growing the business. And then cash flow management. This has been an ongoing story really since the beginning of COVID. We've seen in many of our clients that variable revenue streams and seasonal business cycles create unpredictable cash flow and makes planning ultimately very challenging. Moving along, let's talk about why hundreds of organizations are ultimately moving to cloud financial operations services. Ultimately, these services represent a shift from hiring individual staff members to partnering with dedicated teams that can provide comprehensive, reliable, and consistent services instead of spending time recruiting, training, retaining team members. Businesses and not-for-profit organizations are recognizing that these services are not core to their operations and that there is an opportunity to leverage experienced teams to deliver this work. So one of the benefits is that you get the expertise without the full-time cost. On our team, we have CPAs who act as controllers and fractional CFOs. We have financial specialists. Ultimately, you get exactly what you need on a fractional basis. So it is ultimately a very budget-friendly way to approach finance. Also, if you think about it, if you hire one person to deliver all of these services, you have a continuity risk. So with our teams, you limit the risk of turnover or knowledgeable staff loss when staff members leave. We prepare detailed documented processes to ensure that institutional knowledge stays with the team. Third, there's technology integration. So we are constantly testing new tools to implement into our technology stack. You get the latest and greatest technology stack when you work with us at Enkel. And finally, scalability. What happens if your business grows by 10, 15, 20, 30%? You can easily scale up our service without having to worry about adding additional headcount. Moving along, let's chat a little bit about our services. Accurate, timely bookkeeping, tying back to the initial days, why we started Enkel. Ultimately, timely bookkeeping creates the foundation for strategic decisions. With our services, you get accrual-based accounting, financial statements that are ultimately tax-ready and audit-proof. We reconcile your bank and credit card statements, as well as key balance sheet accounts like your loan accounts every single month. We provide detailed expense tracking and categorization for reporting needs. We provide you with financial reports that are mapped directly to your budget. And we maintain a seamless integration with QuickBooks Online and Dext. Ultimately, what you can expect from us is that your organization will move from scrambling to preparing financial reports. Scrambling to prepare financial reports to having professional statements ready and on schedule. You will be able to reclaim hours each month that you were spending on manual data entry and reconciliation, and your stakeholders, boards, executives will receive consistent professional reports to enable meaningful financial oversight. As a real-world example, a growing organization that we've worked with previously spent 15 to 20 hours per month on bookkeeping tasks. and often fell behind during busy periods. After partnering with us, they now receive monthly financial statements on time, giving leadership adequate time to review them before their board meetings. There are more examples to come. On the payroll front, accurate and compliant payroll really helps to protect your organization and your people. I hear this all the time, that the one thing you can't get wrong is payroll. I hear this from business owners, and we've seen, unfortunately, the impact of payroll errors, the morale issues that can create when you don't have the right payroll workflows and systems in place. Our payroll services will provide you with accurate processing. Every pay period is processed correctly with proper deductions and benefits calculations. We will take care of tax remittances, making sure that what you owe the CRA has actually been paid, eliminating the risk of penalty. We will make sure that staff have access to their T4s after year end, well in advance of the due date, so that they can prepare their personal taxes. Also, we will make sure that you stay current with changing employment standards and payroll regulations. There has been a lot of change in payroll over the last decade, and we will make sure that your organization does not fall behind from a compliance standpoint. And finally, time saving. So eliminating the administrative burden of payroll processing from internal staff. Ultimately, what you can expect is that your organization will eliminate payroll errors and compliance risks. Staff will receive consistent, accurate paychecks. You will no longer worry about missing remittance deadlines, and you can avoid CRA penalties and maintain positive employee relations. Accounts payable. Ultimately, accounts payable is important from a vendor management perspective, but also from a cash flow perspective. Our services will provide invoice tracking with centralized systems for receiving coding and monitoring all vendor invoices. Granular approval workflows using integrated payment tools like Pluto for proper segregation of duties, payment scheduling to help you optimize cash flow while not hindering your relationships with vendors. Due date monitoring, so making sure that you know what is due when it's due, and vendor relationship management through consistent professional communication with suppliers. Ultimately, with our services, you can expect cash flow optimization. Bills will be paid on time, but not too early. We will help you preserve cash for mission-critical activities while maintaining those positive vendor relationships that support your organization. The impact: organizations that move from reactive bill payment to strategic vendor management create predictable cash flow and stronger partnerships. This is just at the bottom here a visual of our workflow on invoice management and vendor payables. So you receive an invoice, you send that invoice into a central spot where it is recorded and matched. We then make sure that invoices have the appropriate approvals. We set up the relevant payments with the appropriate controls, and then we ensure that invoices are retained once payments are made for appropriate CRA purposes and audit purposes. So what is a fractional controller, and how can fractional controllership help you build stronger financial governance? Well, controllers are often a critical part of the overall financial operations of a business, but many businesses can simply not afford to have one. So with fractional controllership, you get the opportunity to really level up your finance function and ensure that the details are well taken care of. A fractional controller will provide you with monthly financial reviews, so detailed analysis of financial statements, identifying trends, issues, and opportunities for improvement. They will help to ensure audit readiness, or if you get a review engagement, ensuring that the books are ready for that review engagement. Also, your controller will be responsible for financial controls, implementing and ensuring that there is appropriate segregation of duties, approval processes, and internal controls. They will provide board support, preparing board packages, attending finance committee meetings, and answering questions that may arise. This is particularly valuable in a situation where there is a founder or an executive director who is not comfortable with financial statements. Also, a fractional controller will help you with policy development. So, creating and documenting financial policies for procurement, expenses, and conflict of interest. And then CFO. So many of our clients come to us in a situation where they need more strategic support for their finance function. Maybe it relates to some strategic goals around retirement or selling the business or growing the business. CFO level strategy will provide you with forecasting, cash flow, and ultimately scalable growth. What can your fractional CFO provide you with? Well, one, strategic planning, helping you with multi-year financial planning aligned with organizational strategy and growth objectives. Cash flow forecasting, so building a rolling 12-month forecast. Scenario analysis, so looking at different opportunities, how the landscape might be impacting your business and modeling out different scenarios. Revenue strategies, so helping you understand how to diversify revenue, what revenue streams are the most profitable, and where you should focus. Helping you with board presentation, so helping to take data, large amounts of data, breaking it down for your board for improved decision-making and overall risk management. Organizations with a fractional CFO ultimately move from reactive financial management to proactive strategic planning. This can provide business leaders with a partner who can translate mission and business goals into financial strategy. So when do you consider a fractional CFO? It's really different for all different organizations. It could be that you're launching new programs, products, navigating financial challenges, preparing major fundraising or financing initiatives. It really does depend. But if you do feel like you are lacking that strategic partner in finance, perhaps we should chat. Let's talk a little bit about tools and process. This is an important part of Enkel's service delivery model and really does differentiate us from other firms who simply provide you with a replacement for resourcing. So we use, as I mentioned earlier, the latest and greatest in cloud-based technology. The Enkel technology stack really includes QuickBooks Online or Xero. We use both of those accounting platforms to deliver financial statements to our clients every month. Dext, which is an expense automation tool with exceptional AI capabilities and optical character recognition technology, sorry. And then Pluto, a secure payment approval workflow that ensures proper segregation of duties. We maintain cloud-based access, which allows you to ensure financial visibility from anywhere, anytime, or on any device in a secure way. We also integrate seamlessly with your existing business management and CRM systems. So what are the benefits? Well, modern, efficient financial operations without requiring internal IT expertise or infrastructure investment, real-time access to financial data for leadership teams, boards, and stakeholders, automated workflows that ultimately reduce time spent on specific tasks and ultimately eliminate data entry errors, bank-level security on all of our tools to ensure that your data is always protected, and scalable technology that grows with your organization's needs. In order to ensure successful implementation of our services, we invest heavily in onboarding. I won't go into a whole lot of detail here, but ultimately, onboarding is based on 4 key pillars. Discovery, so understanding what your needs are, how things work today in your organization. Taking our best practices workflows and designing them for your organization. Planning for areas where customization will be required. getting you onboarded, trained, training your team members on how our different systems work, and then getting into a consistent delivery rhythm. We continue to monitor the onboarding very closely for the first 6 months of our relationship, and we adjust based on your needs and based on your business environment. Ultimately, organizations who engage us report significant time savings and improved financial confidence. So, what we've heard is time savings, leaders directly finding 15 to 20 hours of saved admin time so that they can focus on where they're redeploying that time towards their core business operations. Reduced risk. So, professional financial management ultimately eliminates compliance issues, late payments, and potential errors that are uncovered during audits. They provide you with a strategic focus. Financial clarity is really a baseline for being able to grow your business, to being able to innovate and improve mission delivery. Improved reporting packages for boards, various stakeholders, better cash flow management, and ultimately peace of mind. I'm going to tell you about a couple of clients really briefly before we jump to our Q&A. Want to tell you about Cobalt.io, a cybersecurity managed consulting firm that we've worked with for over 5 years now. They've reported that they've saved $40,000 by hiring, as opposed to having hired in-house. And what our service has enabled is really a growth focus. So the ability for the leadership team to focus on growing the business rather than focusing on day-to-day detailed tasks. The challenge that they were facing was that they were growing very quickly and needed to focus on core activities, not on back office functions. They had limited budget. They couldn't support bringing in an internal professional, yet they needed, because of their board, because of their investors, they needed comprehensive bookkeeping, payroll, and invoicing expertise. Ultimately, they engaged us 5 years ago and have ultimately engaged us for fractional controllership services since, for board meetings and strategic planning. We provide a complete tech stack for their multi-currency operations and cross-border business. And then we have Planned Lifetime Advocacy Network. We have been working with Plan since 2019. The challenge, ultimately, they were growing very quickly. They had a finance manager candidate who was expecting a six-figure salary, which was beyond the budget. They needed multidisciplinary skills, bookkeeping, payroll, accounts receivable, accounts payable, and controllership services. But of course, one person wasn't the perfect fit for that. They knew that if they hired a finance manager, they'd ultimately need to also hire a bookkeeper. So they came to us. They got all of that support that they needed. They were ultimately able to simplify their internal financial operations. We were able to help save them significant money, and we were able to help them reduce the management burden that they were spending on finance on an ongoing basis. So really enabling this organization to get back to mission delivery, focusing on the things that ultimately matter to their stakeholders. That's it. If you are interested in learning more about our services, please scan this QR code. You will receive a follow-up where you can book me for a 30-minute check-in. What we'll cover is current state assessment. Where are you today? We will very quickly be able to identify some gaps, and I'll be able to give you some solutions on what you might want to consider to improve going into 2026. We'll do a review of your technology, and I think you'll really leave with a better picture of where your organization stands, and what the possibilities are. Great, thank you. I would like to invite Thiago back. Thiago is on our marketing team and will be helping me to field the questions today. Thiago, go ahead.
Hi everyone, Omar. Thank you so much for the great content, and also thank you everyone for joining us today. Okay, so we're moving to the Q&A portion now. So if you have any questions, please submit it through the Q&A feature so we can track everything and answer as many as possible. So I already have some questions, so let's start. So the
Great.
first question is from Jesse, and Jesse is asking, how are your service priced? And what is the cost of the CFO service?
So all of our pricing is customized because we really make sure that we're providing you with exactly what you need, and it is based on a number of different variables, the complexity of the accounting, the number of transactions. Just to give you some high level comments on where things start. So monthly financial operations, so some combination of bookkeeping, payroll, and payables starts at $1,000 a month. On the financial management side, so fractional controllership and CFO starts at roughly $1,800 a day. And we typically bundle those services in days per month.
Okay, got it. So the next question is from Clarice. So Clarice is asking, how often do we meet or review financials together? Monthly, quarterly, or as needed?
So it's typically monthly or quarterly. We will establish what your needs are when we go through the discovery process, and then we will plan for that accordingly.
Okay, I have a question here. Maria, she's asking, do you provide project-based consulting? For example, supporting an organization through moving from paper office to cloud-based tech stack?
Absolutely, yes. So what we do in a lot of cases before we engage on an ongoing basis with clients is we work together on we call it a financial diagnostic. So where you are today, what challenges and risks you might be facing, what technology stack you might want to consider implementing, and also where your books are currently. A lot of people come to us and don't really understand, is my bookkeeping in good shape? Where am I overall? And so we can help you identify through this project what the next steps should be to get you into that smooth, efficient running, well managed uh, financial operations setup that we'd like to get you to.
Perfect. So the next question, Marian is asking, if I book the 30-minute health check, what insights or key takeaways can I expect from that first hour?
Yeah, so that 30 minutes is really an opportunity for us to really understand at a high level how things work in your finance function today. So we'll touch on things like how expenses are managed, what workflows you have in place. Usually from there, we will sort of dive into a few different areas based on what you tell me, and you will start to get some meaningful insight on how you can improve there. Of course, it is only 30 minutes, so giving you 100% clarity may be challenging, but it will at least set you on sort of the right path to ask further questions.
Okay, and I have one more question here from Therese. If we already have a bookkeeper, can Enkel work with our existing financial team, or do you prefer to take over everything?
Oh, that's a great question. Yes, we can absolutely work with you just in the capacity of fractional controller or CFO. We can just provide you with bookkeeping, payroll, and AP, or we can do both for you. So that's where we're quite flexible in how we work with our clients. We're happy to meet you where you are and really help to deliver on the needs that you have.
Perfect. I think that's all that I have, Omar. So maybe the
Great.
only thing that I needed to share with everyone is that we're gonna also provide this webinar video again. So by tomorrow, we're gonna send it. And I think that's all for me.
Excellent. Thank you, Tiago, and thank you everybody for joining us. We look forward to connecting with you soon. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Bye, everyone.